time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod, and a very special guest this week that Blake and I have got on the show, an old friend of ours by the name of Adam. He's actually been on the podcast before to chat all about his experience with Rebel Scum and Star Wars collecting and merchandise and stuff, which has been a real treat. So we actually got a lot of feedback on that episode, and a lot of people love that episode. A lot of people love Adam and his collecting career, and so it's great to have him back. So we're going to be chatting with him about a new project that he's got going on, new website, which you guys should all check out. And he's going to tell you all about it. So let's get into it.
Another happy landing.
Well, Adam, it's been a while, man.
Yep, it has. I mean, it's certainly in these COVID times, I've lost track of like what year it is and how long it's been since, I don't know, I had breakfast. But it certainly has been a little while.
Yeah, certainly. It's actually been a while since you met Blake as well, because I know we chatted last year for a little while, and Blake couldn't make it. But the three of us actually, or the two of us, had met you at a local Star Wars event, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a long time since then, though.
Yeah, certainly has. A lot of water under the bridge.
Yeah, for sure.
Certainly.
Then no bridges left up this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy times, and it's been a busy week. I got up here to this recording room, and I realized that my headphones were almost dead here. So I got the charging cable out the one end and the auxiliary out the other here. So so I have to look a little ridiculous.
You're going very far right now. Your head pull back.
Yeah, since I last saw you, are you in a different room, or you got like a whole new setup there?
I have actually moved. So moved last year and now have the basement, with the exception of the laundry room and my oldest son's bedroom. But the rest of the space is mine. So I've been able to put some stuff up behind me, which is really nice.
Yeah.
You can't see what I can see in front of me right now, but there's still a lot of organization to go through, but I've come to that point in my life where I'm having to kind of streamline my collection a little bit. So
oh no,
I know
every collector's worst nightmare.
Yeah, but the upside is that I'm going to be able to appreciate what I'm keeping. So I'm going to be putting up. Well, I mean, for starters, I've got like the Master Replicas scaled helmets and the Kotobukiya artifacts figures, and I'm going to be putting up my Hot Toys, Sideshow, Gentle Giant. So those things like the more high-end collectibles. But I'm still keeping hold of my vintage collection, and I think Josh, I sent pictures of some of my Black Series figures.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
I've got a couple of Dead Elf cabinets that I'm filling up with Black Series. So I'm still keeping my fingers in the collecting. Well, what are they? I guess not the collecting pie. I guess maybe
the merch pie.
Yeah, exactly. So but it's just I'm having to. I'm just refining my collection. I think is the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, with
good way to, I guess, filter through the most important stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, with a collection as big as yours can get, and you got to pick your display pieces, I guess, right?
Exactly. And I know. I'm making sure that the pieces I'm getting rid of, they're going to good homes where they'll be well appreciated. So I feel like I'm benefiting other people, so other people get to appreciate it now.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but that wall behind Josh there is pretty blank.
I know. That was the thing. I mean, he did preface it by saying he came up to this room, so I realized that it was not.
Yeah, I feel like, well, I mean, this is the recording, the in-house recording studio now, but I gotta change the way I'm doing this camera setup because you can't actually see what's next to me, which is my all my stuff. You know, I've got like the whole. And there's going to be some more shelves going up eventually and maybe some posters and stuff. But yeah, for now, it's a bit bland. Like right now, it's just the worst backdrop. So.
Well, I think that's what I had last time. So I think, I didn't have much on show. So, we've kind of, the turntables have turned, I think is the phrase.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Since we last chatted, I mean, I know actually, you know, for anyone who hadn't, you know, maybe heard our previous discussion, they might not know that you were very intimately involved with Rebel Scum at one point. Did you want to briefly fill anyone in on just that story?
Yeah, sure. So, I'd been contributing to, I've been involved in starting up Jedi News many years ago, 2007, if I remember correctly. So I built that site, and then when I moved to Canada, it just made sense that I would distance myself from that site, and then I got to know somebody who was part of Rebel Scum, who's local, and I just over time was invited to join the site there, and so that was back in 2011, 2012, and was involved for many years up until I guess last year, again, if memory serves, when Philip Wise decided that it was time to kind of hand the reins over, and at that point went to another group, and they had their own team. So it was kind of made sense that it was the time to part ways, especially because I had my own project that I was starting to spend more time focusing on, and it was kind of a natural break. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to be involved in Rebel Scum and everything that gave me the chance to do, and like I'm grateful for Philip having me as part of the team. But yeah, it just kind of felt like the right time to go to leave the team.
Yeah, I feel like Rebel Scum was one of those fan kind of sites that it's just one of those recognizable fan sites that you just kind of
very much so.
People just knew about it, like one of those go-to places. So that's really cool that you had some involvement there. Yeah.
I was, like I say, I'm honored to have had the opportunity to be involved.
Yeah. I didn't know that it was a local thing until Josh talked about the interview with you last time.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing for a while. Trying to think how there were at least 3, possibly 4 Canadians on the team. So that was good. I mean, although I'm not originally from Canada, I do have my citizenship, so I can claim that I was one of the Canadians on the team.
We'll take that.
Shane Persian, he was involved, and there was a couple. I mean, there was a couple of other Brits, albeit relocated to either Australia or the States. So there was definitely a bit more of an international flavour to Rebel Scum than most people realise. But a couple of Canucks on there.
Well, I'll tell you, the merch world wouldn't be the same without Rebel Scum, and there's a new kid on the block, which is your new site, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're a long way to go before we're at the same level as Rebel Scum, or at least as they were. But and it's definitely I've veered away from that from it being completely Star Wars. Like I've kind of spread my wings a little bit, and it's very much like pop culture just in general. So the idea behind it, is basically it's really for collectors. I mean, that's really the crux of it. The idea is it's serving collectors in a number of ways. One, it's a platform for them to be able to search for the collectibles that they're looking for, and from another side, they can build wish lists and then share that with family and friends. And the idea is that I'm sure we've all had that situation where somebody says, "Oh, you like Star Wars? I got you something from Star Wars," and you're like, "Ah, that's great, thank you very much."
Right.
I mean, if you're British, originally from the UK, I mean, I think we're all pretty polite individuals. We're all going to be putting on a brave face, going, "Yeah, thanks very much, I really love it." But in the back of our minds, we're like, well, either it's not something I necessarily would collect, or I already have it. Probably is more often the case that we're difficult people to buy for.
Definitely.
Us collectors. So the idea, it's called Geek Gift Registry, and really the idea behind it stemmed from kind of that situation, that scenario.
It's happened one too many times. Decided to need a whole website.
Yeah, that's right. Well, my partner, she knows I like Star Wars, and so she was wanting to get me something. She had already bought me a pair of socks, which to this day she's like, "I don't know why you don't like them. They're like really incredible Star Wars socks. Just not my thing." And so it kind of that got the gears going. It's like, well, how do we get around this? Like, she's wanting to buy me something that she knows that I'm going to love, and let's face it, I want to get something that I love.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah, something you don't have as well, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Exactly. I mean, I didn't have the socks, so from that point of view, that was one thing that was right about it. But yeah, they just weren't my thing, and so that's kind of where the germ of the idea started.
Socks. We can thank the sock business for all that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they took a stance. See what I did there? If you're familiar with the manufacturers of Star Wars branded socks. But yeah, that's kind of where it started, and it was just a case of, like I say, initially coming at it from different angles. So with the collector, again, you're able to, we go to so many different sites where we're checking prices. Prices is obviously a price of something is obviously important to us. For carded collectors and people who like to keep things mint in box, then where they come from is definitely a big thing. So you might be you might be willing to pay that little bit extra if you know that you are more likely to get something mint in box than if you get it from Walmart and it comes in a padded envelope. So the idea is that you can go on the site, you can search for whatever it is you're looking for, and you get results back from multiple sites. Now, just the mechanics, really, it's just we're crawling a lot of different sites. We're crawling a fraction of the sites that there are at this point, but it's there's, if you can imagine, there's a lot of work involved to pull all that information together. So there's I know, Josh, you were saying recently you were looking on EB Games, or you were looking for the Boba Fett helmet from EB Games, and it wasn't showing up. And it could be quite challenging trying to get the results from some sites, particularly when they the origins, if you go to EB Games, sorry, it's not EB Games, it's GameStop.ca. Sorry, old habits there. But yeah, going to that site, and not everything is clearly categorized. Not everything is not clear as to who the company is, and as smart as computers are, there's only so much they can do at this point, unless you start looking at AI or machine learning and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's true. Because on the back end, each site's going to have different quality of its own search results and probably different naming conventions. So it's hard to filter all that to get exactly what you want, right? So,
No,
Exactly.
It's impressive that
yeah.
you've managed to get the site working the way it even is, right? Like, I mean, it's I didn't even know that was like a thing, like databasing from other websites that deep, you know, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, well, that was also kind of the proof of concept was if I can get results from another site and then present those, then that was kind of that was where I started to think, I think there's a possibility here that at the end of the day, if they go to Geek Registry and they search once and they get results from multiple sites, then they're not having to like go to each and every one. They may still have to, like I say, because we're not collecting from all of the sites, that there are still going to be some that they need to go and visit individually. But for example, if you search on, say, Omega the Bad Batch, you're going to get results from the likes of GameStop.ca, GameStop.com, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Dorkside Toys, Hasbro Pulse, to name but a few. You've got those results right there in front of you, and you can see, okay, well, who's cheapest in who's selling it for cheapest. And so the idea is that it's providing that one-stop shop for all these different sites, and whether you want to buy there and then, or if you want to add it to your wish list, you can do that, and then you can share it with your family and friends. And again, that's another angle where we were thinking, well, from the other side of the table, my partner, like I said earlier, she wants to get me something that I don't already have. She wants to get me something that she knows that I'm going to love. And so if I send her a wish list saying, hey, I'm looking for these things, then that's already given her like a bit more confidence that she's going to be able to give me something that is going to tick those boxes. So but we label that as taking the stress out of gift giving, because I know even though my partner's not a collector, I still struggle at times to think, well, what can I get for her? And it can be a little stressful when you're like, I've got to get something. Having a wish list, that for me is I just think it really makes a big difference. So
totally, yeah. I mean, it's not super abnormal to have like an Amazon wish list that you can make public and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or like a wedding registry.
Yeah.
That's exactly it, and that's why we went with Gift Registry, Geek Gift Registry. So it seemed to kind of just marry with that perfectly. And if wedding or if couples that are soon to be married are happy to put out a wish list and say, hey, this is what we want for our new home or whatever, our new life together, then as collectors, I don't see any difference. So
why not? Well, I'll be happy to go to the next wedding and see nothing but Star Wars or Marvel gifts. That's for sure.
Wouldn't that be something? Yeah. I'm sure somebody somewhere has done it already. But I mean, I know there's been plenty of Star Wars themed weddings, but whether the gifts have been like around that theme as well, that would be pretty something.
Well, I got married last summer and I tried to sneak a few things in, but I don't know if I got it past the radar. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost got to be something that can be practical, because then you can be like, well, it's for the home. It's not just for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's Darth Vader's helmet, but it's also a toaster.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm getting married this year myself, actually, like later this year. So what I got to do, because I don't think she would be too happy if I made a registry with Geek Gift, but
I think you should just go for it.
I got to tell all my friends, at least all my invitees, to click a special hidden button on our actual wedding website, and then it goes to my wish list on Geek Gift, and there you go.
Nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that as much as it's centered around collectibles and toys primarily, like I mean, just by virtue of pulling from all these other sites where they're offering things that are practical around the house and home. So we have a category that's house and home. So all manner of things, whether it's bedding or cups, toast. Yeah, the likes of
Curtains.
like kitchen appliances. I'm sure there are curtains in there. I haven't actually searched the curtains myself.
It's crazy.
But,
I was telling somebody this. I forget who it was now, but it's come up like a few times. Star Wars, I think, is one of the few kind of, I guess, franchises that you can literally live in a house where everything is Star Wars. Like,
Well, you can thank Disney for that recently. Like George, I don't think he went the full length that Disney did as far as just mass amount of merchandise, like everything.
maybe.
George was great for the action figures, the lot of characters that were unnecessary, but not like pointless merchandise. I think I say that as in like anything and everything.
Sure. I mean, but saying that, I'm pretty certain there was Star Wars toilet paper before Disney took over. I could be wrong.
There were some pretty ridiculous things. I know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you just got to go to Rancho Obi-Wan and see everything there. And I know, I think it was last year, whether it was the virtual Comic Con or whatever it was they did. I'm sure there was like they set up a bedroom of like maybe in the late 70s, early 80s, and it was just completely tricked out in Star Wars merchandise, and it was like Josh said, basically your entire house could be full of like Star Wars is everywhere. It's literally branded. Got the Star Wars brand on everything. So I mean, I've bought grapes with the Mandalorian packaging.
Your food.
I'm pretty sure bananas. Yeah, but I mean,
you breakfast cereal, you know.
Man, how's Rancho Obi-Wan going to hold on to those?
I think
the package.
You have to kind of draw the line. So I
dehydrate it, I guess.
Exactly. Well, I have got tins of I think spaghetti noodles that I really should have opened and emptied before now.
Are those the Star Wars Alphagettis that I think I vaguely recall?
I think there's the Phantom Menace. There was I think it's like silver packaging with Darth Maul. It's like the holographic type when you
nice.
the lenticular. It's almost lenticular.
Yeah.
I've got. But I really should have emptied those before now. I've got some mouthwash, toothpaste, shampoo. Yeah.
you know, with the Alphagettis, like the value's probably doubled by this point. You could sell it for $4 instead too.
Exactly. Yeah. Really make my money back on that.
Return.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's quite awesome. It's true though. You can get so much stuff with Star Wars, and a lot of people who might be less familiar with Star Wars, who might just be a little freaked out by how much stuff there is. I think it's worth mentioning that the sequels were for A New Hope. I mean, Empire and Return of the Jedi were basically built on the sales of merchandise and action figures and stuff. And these days money gets thrown around at these big Hollywood blockbusters as if it's nothing, right? And we can thank Star Wars for that, but for modernizing the genre that exists in pop culture for younger viewers and such. But really a lot of that tribute has to come to George just selling his shirts and action figures, right? And it's like you can make a movie on merch, you know? It's pretty nuts.
It just goes to show what a visionary he was, that not only in terms of what he created in Star Wars, but recognizing that there was this huge potential. I mean, I'm saying that I'm assuming that he had some inclination, that it wasn't just I don't know, if that's all I can get, sure, I'll take it. Maybe somebody who knows their Star Wars lore a bit better than me might be able to say, well, he kind of took what he could get, but it kind of worked out for him. But I feel like he had some sense of what was possible there. But
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's quite phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I can just picture it in my head. Like, George, how do you plan to fund your next movie? Well, sell some shirts.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, it worked out so well that the studios just decided to never make that deal to give away the toy rights ever again.
Yeah.
Make that mistake just once. That's all it takes.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
exactly.
that's the thing that's sought after. Yeah. I mean, there's so much Star Wars stuff out there. It's recently there was a big event online called Star Wars Podcast Day. We put out an episode on Podcast Day as well, Star Wars Podcast Day. And it was around the same time that I found out, I think it was over 90, it was like 97 or something shows actually put out an episode for this event. What I didn't know was how many there are on the internet. And there's fast approaching 4,000 Star Wars podcasts out there. And it's unbelievable. Like, it's a crazy number of shows, and just makes me think how many fan sites there are and how many sources there is to get a hold of this merchandise, right? And it's crazy just how much it's affected culture in North America as well. A coworker of mine, he was just saying today, he's from Iran originally, where westernized things are not exactly, I guess, appreciated to the same extent, right? Some of it's even kind of, I guess, shunned. I guess some westernized material. So Star Wars really isn't the biggest over there. And and he loves, like, he asked me, he's like, do you have a Darth Vader action figure or like any kind of thing? I'm like, I got the helmet, I got the action figure, like, let me tell you.
Okay. Yeah. I think you came to the right place.
Yeah. I'm like, I think you came to the right country, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
quite
great.
Something.
You guys have a bit of a promotion going on for a local event happening in Vancouver for Fan Expo, right? You're in a bit of a partnership with a very well-known shop around these parts. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel very fortunate to have a store like Toy Traders right on my doorstep. And I know, if you've seen, I don't know if you've seen the video that Kevin Smith put out a couple of years ago when he was when he visited the store, and I'm going to butcher his name.
Paul, right? Paul.
I know Paul's young son.
Yeah,
but
Paul young son.
It goes by Angry Appa on social media. I remember seeing a video that he put up as well, and I think he prefaced it by saying, have all these people from out west who would tell me about this amazing store called Toy Traders, and I think it's fairly typical that people are like, it can't be all that you made it like people play it up to be, and then they go and visit and they're just like, it's just
blown
the
away,
most amazing place.
Yeah. I tell everyone about it too. Anytime I'm like, if you ever need somewhere to go in Vancouver, you got to go to Langley. You got to go check out Toy Traders.
Exactly. That's it. I'm much the same. I really should say to Matthew, the owner, that I'm kind of an unpaid marketer for Toy Traders, because whenever it's like I'll see celebrities are saying, oh, they're going to be filming in Vancouver. I'm like, if you have time, go and check out Toy Traders. So I like to I do like to promote them as much as possible, and part of that is because it's an amazing place, but also I do know the owner. I've just gotten to know him over the years, and so with regards to Fan Expo, Geek Registry are going to be, we didn't get a booth, but we're going to be appearing at the show in terms of just roaming around, speaking to people, just telling everyone about the site and just spreading the word. But we were invited to run a contest and wanted to partner up with Toy Traders to promote them. They're going to be the biggest exhibitor at the show. And so the contest we're running, which I've got probably just over 12 hours left to enter. But basically, it's just there's a contest, there's a link on the site, and I can share that with you later. But basically, just enter, subscribe to a couple of social media accounts, subscribe to the website itself and newsletter, and you stand a chance to win $500 worth of Toy Trader bucks. And as an added bonus, if you are registered with Geek Gift Registry and have shared your wish list, then you get your name is drawn out the hat, then you'll get an extra $100 just as a thank you for spreading the word of Geek Gift Registry. So yeah, that's something that we've set up, and we've had a great number of entries so far. And like I say, we've got 12 hours left. Although I guess
Amazing.
by the time this goes out, unfortunately, the contest will be over. But
Yeah, well, I'll be sure to retweet and share all those things before the contest ends. Yeah, because
we're live, aren't we? So yeah, I guess that
this episode this is going out tonight. So yeah, I mean, there's still gonna be
okay.
a few hours
Perfect.
left. Yeah, a few hours left
Wonderful.
for anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the night owls will be able to enter, or if people are getting
Fantastic.
up in the UK.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to sort out mailing them their Toy Trader bucks, and
they gotta pay for a flight just to come over here and
exactly.
spend them.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah.
They can go through geekgiftregistry.com and order some Toy Trader stuff.
Yeah,
well,
the official
can work
online
something out.
retailer for toy traders is
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely, that was a conversation I had with Matthew, because obviously his focus is his store, and when I first approached him, he's like, well, you're kind of promoting online stores, and that doesn't help me, and I totally get that. I mean, it is kind of counterintuitive that that it would be something that would be advantageous to toy traders. But one of the things that, and I think I alluded to it earlier, is that the focus for the site is very much about the collector and making sure that the collector gets what they want. Whether that's going off online and finding something, but if it's on their wish list, it doesn't matter where it comes from. Ultimately, one of the things that we're wanting to do is basically start adding comic stores and toy stores to the site. So the idea being is that somebody has their wish list and they've shared it, and then a person that's been shared with is just like, well, your birthday is either tomorrow or the next day or two. I'm not going to get anything delivered in time, but I do know that there's toy traders in Langley, and I'm going to see if I can get this item from them. I mean, there's a bit of work that needs to be done there to basically try and tie up add the store's inventory to what we are promoting, but that's just kind of where I'm thinking. And like I say, ultimately it's all about making sure that the collector gets what they want. So whether it's purchased online, or whether it's from brick and mortar store, then that's really the end goal.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, everyone listening, I mean, go check out. Is it geekgiftregistry.com?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. And I'm going to be putting a link to all this stuff, including you guys' competition, in the description. So, I'll get that from you later and post it down below.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be great. Yeah. Is there any merchandise on the market right now that you're looking at, thinking to yourself, like, I've got to have that?
Oh, well, where do I start? I mean, my wish list is 70 plus items long at this point. So that should tell you something.
What's number one?
That's a good one, because I did add, I think, the Hot Toys Boba Fett, that there was a 2-pack. It showed like it's from his kind of first appearance in The Mandalorian. Well, not technically not his first appearance, because we did only see his boots in season 1, but when he showed up at the beginning of season 2,
right.
Is it Morak? I think.
On Tython, right?
Oh, that's right, Tython. Yeah, and there's a Hot Toys. I believe there's a Hot Toys 2-pack. So that's high up there. At the moment, I'd say there's a lot of emphasis on the likes of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. So. Yeah. There's, again, might be Hot Toys diorama, like the Throne set. I mean, the new Throne set that Hasbro announced last week, it is on my wish list, although I have ordered it. I'm just making sure nobody hears me. I have ordered that. I mean, there's just so many things.
Do you have a special place for all these, like, so like your action? I know your action figure collection is pretty big, but for the 3 3/4 inch versus the 6-inch stuff, is there a particular size that you like to display if you're buying like the throne room set kind of thing, or do you keep it in the box?
Yeah. At the moment, I'm displaying the Black Series. I think just even though there's been so many of those that have been released.
Yeah.
I've been displaying those more than my 3 3/4, just because I
Just
think
the detail.
well, the detail as well, but also just because I had been collecting 3 3/4 inch for so long that just I have amassed so many figures that I feel like I can display most of my Black Series and that's enough. I don't think I'd be able to do that with my 3 3/4. I'd just be like, well, what do I display? I can't display them all.
Yeah.
So I'm
that
in
makes
that
sense.
situation. So that's part of the reason why I've gone for that scale.
What's that YouTube channel that has been around forever? Is it Sith Lord 229 or something like that? You know, it's the guy in the UK.
Right.
Yeah, I remember being like, I think Revenge of the Sith had just come out, and you know, so like I was quite a bit younger, and I remember watching his videos on YouTube when when YouTube buffering was still a thing, and and I just remember thinking to myself, man, this guy's got a lot of action figures. And then I only found out like last year, I just came across one of his videos again. He's still going at it. And on his shelf in the room, there's like 6 at a time kind of stacked one behind the other. And it's just all wrapping around the whole place. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, credit to him for playing the long game and just keep going at it. I was thinking this past week how many. Actually, I was thinking I might put a poll out on Twitter, on the Geek Registry Twitter account, about how many hours as action figure collectors, how many hours have we wasted standing figures back up after we're like trying to stand some up, and then one falls, domino effect. I had that last weekend where I've got this Death Elf, and I've been standing them all up, and I inadvertently just happened to knock it, and they all went flying. I've got to find a better solution. I've been talking to a buddy of mine who suggested something that I can use to kind of stick them down, or I need to get a bunch of stands. But right now they're perfectly balanced but very precarious.
Yeah.
So I'm very gently opening the door, and I keep doing it to myself, because I'm like, that blaster isn't. It's not
slightly off. Yeah.
I need to straighten it up, and then I'm like go in and ham-fisted and send figures flying, and they're 3 hours later, and I'm just
there goes your afternoon.
Just left it alone. Just leave it alone. But that's kind of my OCD coming in a little bit. So,
the 3 3/4 ones used to have. They used to be pretty good about some of them having like a base stand that used to come with the figure that you could stand them up on. I remember some of the Attack of the Clones ones. They used to throw it in the box, I think, but I don't know if they do that anymore, and they don't do that with the 6-inch ones for sure. So
no,
it's almost too bad.
They've done it for a handful. I think if I remember right, it seems to have been like the GameStop exclusive. So I remember they did a Jump Trooper, which is Gaming Greats. I think it was the Jump Trooper or Rocket Trooper. That had just like a clear triangular base, and you could just slide the foot in.
Okay.
And did they do it as well with the Obi-Wan Clone Commander from like the Genndy Tartakovsky, that version of General Obi-Wan? So they've done it with a handful. I don't know whether it was just like, we need to throw something else into this in with this figure,
right?
But why they've just done it for a handful and not kind of made it the standard? I think
maybe they're all done by like the same artist or modeler. He's just so tired of knocking them over that he's always throws it in his. Yeah,
exactly. yeah. This needs to be posed. You can't just stand this upright. It needs to be properly posed, so it needs a stand. So there might be something in that as well.
Hasbro could get away with selling these specially designed stacks of just a row with all the pegs in it, so you can just stand like 6 in a row. And because now they're doing this thing with the box where all the artwork and stuff is so nicely colored and matching. So if you have them all in a particular series for a particular show or movie, you get the picture on the side if you have them bookshelf style, And then, you know, if they're front facing, it's a nice display. And if you're taking them out of box, then they all just fall over. So like they should have a nice way to, you know, that's what
I think I think that's a good idea, definitely. I know, pretty sure NECA have released their own stands, but I mean they're mostly individual. But yeah, I like the idea of like just having a strip with different pegs.
This is where a 3D printer could come in handy, you know. Like
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. Somebody out there might be jumping on that idea. So
what is I don't know, maybe we can start with Blake. I just wanted to go around. What is like the most iconic, if you've had any kind of Star Wars action figure? Like what's the one that just comes to mind, you know, from recent or old, like, you know, past kind of thing?
It feels like it's a bit cliche, but the first thing would be Darth Vader, just because this is probably the most iconic character of the whole franchise. As vanilla as that answer is.
Which one is it though? Is it the 6-inch? Is it a particular age? Like
I'm going to be cool and go with I guess it'd be 1978. 3 3/4 Darth Vader from the original, because it didn't come out in time for the original release. It came out later.
Wait, you have that? You have that one?
No, I don't have it, but that's what comes to my mind.
I meant
what do I own?
Which one? Yeah, which one you've owned that comes to mind? Yeah.
Oh gosh. I'm gonna go with, because I don't have a lot of action figures per se, but I have a lot of the Kudabakai collectibles.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go. I shopped for this one for a while to get specifically the Darth Vader in choking pose, so I can also use it as a key holder for I put my car keys.
Nice.
Yeah, on my front door there.
Yeah, excellent.
What about you, Adam?
Well, I'm a big fan of it's not the rocket firing Boba Fett, so it's not worth anything like the those prototypes that the likes of Steve Sansweet and Gus Lopez have.
I think he said that was 10 grand to get 10 years ago. So
it was, and I think, I mean, you kind of think, what, 10 grand for an action figure? But the price now, I think, just could buy a small house.
Down payment right
but
there.
This one, I think this one is the mail away that Hasbro did. They did a special offer a few. Well, it was I guess when the first wave of the vintage collection. So back in 2010, which incidentally, and just side note, I don't know if you were collecting figures at that the vintage collection at that point. But in Canada, we had the misprinted sticker that said had 3 B's in Boba, so it was BOBBA. But that was the mail away, and so I opened that one, and I think that one's pretty special. This one came with the extra missile, which I think does fire, if I remember rightly, but not the original, but still pretty. I just think there's something really, really special about that figure. So that would be my
very
choice.
nice.
That's awesome.
And I mean, I've got some 6-inch figures from more recent history. I know Blake and I we each got one of those pilot Luke Skywalkers from the Celebration. From Star Wars
Celebration exclusive ones.
Yeah, still in the box. You know, don't want to open that one.
I know. Yeah.
The one from. What was that? Sorry,
go. No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the one that I think of when I don't have them anymore. Ironically enough, I actually traded them in many years ago into Toy Traders when Toy Traders was kind of first kind of a smaller shop and starting out still, and not where they are now. But and I had a whole bunch of Attack of the Clones figures that I just brought back, and ironically enough, they're now selling a whole new I don't know where they found them, but they're still in the box, and now they're selling basically all the same guys again in the box. They got them from you.
I took a bunch in. Yeah, guilty.
That's amazing.
Josh, go buy them up. Relive your childhood.
The one I think
and I know I could have offered them to you first.
Well, the one I think of, because it's funny that I mean I was quite a bit younger. You know, they weren't obviously in the box when I had them, and then traded them back in. But I actually frequently think back to something I really should have held on to. I had the Falcon, like the 3 and
Right.
3/4 inch Millennium Falcon
Yeah.
with the light strip on the back. This
With the
was
90s
from,
one?
No, this was the early. This was the DVD release of Star Wars kind of era. It was like 2004, 2005, something around there.
Yeah, the OTC. Did it come with the? Because there was I'm not sure if it was Sam's Club, but there was an exclusive edition of the Falcon, and it came with the crew. So there was I don't know if I've got it to hand now. But it had basically Han, Chewie, Luke, Ben, 3PO, and R2, and that came in a clear case that sat on top.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't have that one. The one that I had, I think was I think it was this 2005 one. Yeah, Hasbro 2005 Toys R Us exclusive. So it had a little missile that fired out the center from the front, and
Right.
it also had the blue LED light strip on the back. There were 3 gray rubber buttons kind of by the turret that you could press, and it would activate the lights on the back as well as the sounds. And there was a where the vents are on the back, you could open up that piece of the roof, and
Nice.
and there was, like, you saw the jar table
Hyperdrive?
in there, and as well as like a seat for the turret in the middle, and
Yeah.
I really should have kept that as just like a nice model, because like it was there was so much cool detail on that, and now people are going nuts over this new Razor Crest which just came out, which looks fantastic. But the figure that I always think of when I think back to like my first set, the originals, which I don't have anymore, was the Attack of the Clones. I think it was the Anakin Skywalker, because he came with the Tusken Raider stick things. They were like, it was like this set of like sticks that you kind of had to balance up against each other to make some sort of teepee thing, which didn't have a teepee. I don't even know what it was, and then it came
like
with like
a campfire or something.
Yeah, it was. I don't even know what it was. It was like a gun stand maybe or something. But what was really funny about this, and the reason why it comes to mind, is because when I was watching the Book of Boba Fett, and he's in the Tusken camp, there's a moment where they're kind of running around, and the train's kind of going by, and they're being shot at and stuff. There's a moment right before that where one of the characters props up a cycler rifle, which is what I think. I think it was either Anakin or a Tusken or Raider or something that came with this gun and these twigs. But you actually, he propped it up against these things that resembled very closely this action figure thing, and I was trying to figure out where these shapes came from. Yeah, like do you have any idea, or am I just?
I have a vague recollection of what you mean. I mean, I feel like there was one that was Anakin in the Tusken camp. So, my recollection of it is it was something along the lines of like the campfire that when he attacked the when he killed the women and children, all of them. I think it was. I think that's what they were going for. And I know with the saga line for Attack of the Clones, there was a lot more posed figures, and they came with like force lightning flashes and lightsaber flashes and everything else. So I think that was the extra pack-ins.
Yeah.
So
I just sent you guys a photo here. There was like there
we go. Yeah.
2 sticks of the bag, and there was like a little bag that kind of balanced off one of these things, and there was the gaffy stick in there, and a cycler rifle. And Anakin had this thing with the Jedi power kick, and you hit the button on the waist, and you hit the button on the waist, and his whole legs just went and just like rotated half an inch. You know?
I'm gonna go one theory a bit darker here, and think maybe the sticks, they're just how they're all tied together. Maybe that's like the thing that Shmi was like tied to inside the tent.
Maybe
because she was bound to like something, right?
I think there's possibly some merit in that. I thought actually, Josh, you were gonna talk about Anakin and with the removable arm, and I mentioned earlier Shane Turgeon, and he was with, so this was kind of back in Rebel Scum days, just I guess before the movie came out, but the figures have been released. And one of the other guys on the team showed Shane this figure, and he's like, "Hey, Shane, look at this," and then pulled his arm off, and Shane kind of like, "Ah!" Just,
Spoilers!
bit of a spoiler, but also was not expecting that to happen. So that was where, when you started to say the Anakin Skywalker from Attack of the Clones, I thought it was going to be with the
Actually,
detachable arm.
I think I did have one which had a magnetic hand on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was that one or if it was maybe a different one, but I do remember having one like that. Yeah.
And that was also one of the features is the magnet. So they had they had the metallic.
Yeah, it was the Luke Skywalker from Bespin. That's the one that I had. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, with the magnetic hand. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Well, it brings me back. I'm only just remembering all these little things I used to have. Dooku and his like rubber cape and yeah. Figures have improved a lot.
That was the difference. You got to appreciate the figures and enjoy the figures. I was just like, well, they look nice in their packaging, but
that's true. Yeah,
no idea what any of them do. So
right. I wish I could say the same about all those collectors that bought Boba Fett back in the day with the Kenner series, and then found out they couldn't fire the rocket.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Such a letdown.
After taken out of the packaging.
Exactly.
And mailing in too, right? It's like this huge thing. You had to wait 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Get a nice coupon for it. Yeah. Well, Book of Boba came out recently, so I mean, I wanted to ask what your thoughts were on that show.
I absolutely loved it. I really thought it offered like a lot of there was a lot of appeal for like fans of Star Wars who've been like invested in the saga for a long time. So little kind of, I guess some people might call it fan service, but things that if you knew what they were talking about, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. I was talking to my brother. I distinctly remembered the Kintan Striders, if I got that right, and I was like, I've heard that name before. Obviously, it was the Swoop Bike Gang, and I was racking my brains trying to think what it is, and then remembered that it was one of the Dejarik pieces. Was actually a Kintan Strider, if I got that wrong, right. So lots of those little things being dropped in here, there, and everywhere, and really like that. I just like the way that like the fact that we're actually getting weekly Star Wars is just incredible. And I mean, so many different things, like having that bit of backstory of Boba escaping from the Sarlacc pit and then taking his starship. I know that we're calling it Boba Fett Starship now. Taking it back and kind of attacking the Sarlacc was pretty awesome. I think, like, even though it was, the rest of the season was great. Like the Rampage in Rancor, I think was pretty spectacular.
Oh
Did you play that game?
The thing that, did ever play Rancor Rampage for the Kinect on Xbox?
No, I did not. No.
Yeah, well, they just canonized that game because it was exactly the same as what they did, which is hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. I just thought that was really neat to see, because I mean, I feel like it's been said before, when something's kind of been brought up to date, that it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't pay enough homage to the original. I'm trying to think of a good example, but in this case, like, people were saying, well, when we saw the first time we ever saw the Rancor, it was kind of lumbering and it was slow and it was doing all this. But people forget that it hadn't been fed, or as the story goes, that Jabba starved it just to make it like more aggressive. And I think that's the thing, that sometimes you kind of think, oh well, they've really amped it up now and it's way more than it ever was. But there's kind of caveats.
There's a bit of a canon explanation to that, and it's that the Rancor that we see in Return of the Jedi is quite a bit older.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
And in not Rebels. In Bad Batch, they had to rescue a really
Moochie,
young.
yeah.
That's right,
Yeah,
and that Rancor is just full of energy and climbing and running and doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't know if anybody else. So when we were introduced to the Rancor in Book of Boba Fett, and they were saying, well, what do we call it? I came up with well, it's the second. The first one was Moochie. Second one,
Patisa.
Moochie 2 or Tucci. I guess we could call it Tucci. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody else coined that, but I'm claiming it if not. But yeah, it was seeing Moochie in Bad Batch was really awesome. But then thinking, oh well, next time I watched with my kids Return of the Jedi after seeing him in Bad Batch. It was just like, oh, Paul.
Yeah, you know the ending.
Yeah, exactly. So brings it home a little bit. But yeah, I really, I thought the introduction of the Rancor was excellent, and then, like I say, seeing it rampaging through on Tatooine, and then the Naboo Starfighter again being reintroduced. That was pretty awesome.
Now that's a
So it's
Lego
just like
set
that
that I'll be in
narrative.
line for.
Sorry?
That's a Lego set I'll be in line for.
Oh yeah. Well, my brother's a big he collects a lot of Star Wars Lego, and he'd actually said when I spoke to him last week before they'd announced it, he was like, oh yeah, I'm building my own Naboo Starfighter, Mandalorian style, and then Lego announced this set. So I think I haven't actually spoken to him since, but he's probably like, that was a waste of time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, he's put it on YouTube. I know before they released the Lego Razor Crest, there was just people showing all sorts of custom Razor Crest Legos on there. I bet it's gonna be the same thing for the Starfighter.
Lego's on it, man. Like Lego's on it. I think Hasbro needs to get their game together, because I feel like we're only just getting the option to buy certain 6-inch action figures that I wish we had the option to get like 2 years ago. So I mean, I'm glad that Lego's like Epso comes out a week later, boom, you can get the official ship, coming out in a couple months. It's like, that's great. That's what I want to see.
Exactly.
Because like what's fun with that though is because I think they base a lot of those sets off concept art. So sometimes the art changes and then the Lego is slightly wrong.
That's the kind of I guess that's the payoff, the trade-off, isn't it? That and I mean you could say that's what happened with Kenner with their blue snaggletooth, like going off original concept art, and then when the movie's released and they're like, are you kidding me? He's like in red and he's half the size. So thanks very much for that, George.
I guess there's been some discrepancies as well with the color of certain lightsabers, and for some of the characters as well. I mean, even with the older lineup as well, I think didn't one of them have like a was it Luke or one of those characters had like a different colored lightsaber than what it is in the film. And then I know for I think the biggest one that comes to my memory at least was Samuel Jackson's purple lightsaber was absent from the Phantom Menace marketing. Like they just pulled the standard blue for his lightsaber. I remember it's on the cover art for Jedi Power Battles for the Game Boy game, right? And then all his action figures and everything, and he just had the blue lightsaber, and then Attack the Clones rolled around, and now it's all purple. So
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I think fans will always be so like that, really on it, and like eagle-eyed, looking at like what did they get wrong, and sometimes it's like this. Not to be dismissive of the people in marketing, but it's not necessarily something that they're going to be like really, really on it. It's unless they're absolute diehard fans and they're like, well, I know that this is. I feel like Sam Witwer he said something either about some dialogue. He was asked to say either as Maul, it probably was Maul actually, or it might have been a lightsaber. So there's just some story about Sam Witwer. I'm gonna and I probably sound like a rambling idiot now, but something where he had to take somebody aside and go, that's actually wrong. Like what you're asking me to do is wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. And like, I'm sure you've heard Sam speak. He's like very passionate about Star Wars, and so he had to take someone aside and go, no, you're doing this wrong. Unless you got like that.
What if it was Dave? Took Dave Filoni to the side. Wouldn't that be an interesting conversation?
That would be, yeah. I think, yeah. I don't want to say it was Dave because that would be a very interesting. It's like that's almost like mansplaining.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's to Dave who
call it mansplaining when you're mansplaining to another man, but yeah, trying to tell Dave Filoni that he's doing Star Wars wrong. I think, yeah. I mean, that would take some.
That's like telling George. It's like the same thing.
Yeah. Well, George could always say, "Well, no, that's how I always imagined it," and yeah. But
what are you gonna do, right?
Exactly. It's like, did you come up with this stuff? No.
Yeah.
You have no right to say.
You know, it's funny
they
because
maybe misinterpreted things. So.
yeah, and you know, it's funny because George gets so much flack sometimes for the edits of the films and all that, because I think as fans, like a lot of us can be very protective over certain aspects of Star Wars, you know, and if any of us are very attached to a particular version that we first saw or whatever, you know, I can imagine those people being kind of angry if it gets re-released and now there's a new scene in the movie that was never there before or whatever, right? But you know, one thing that was apparent to me is you know, here's this guy with like a very vast vision, you know, creative, building this mythology of his own kind of thing. And then there's a guy like Tolkien who's been, you know, gone for many years now at this point. But another guy who made his own mythology and re-edited and re-released his own books with changes, and nobody complains about that. So, you know, it's just exactly. It's funny how things work out, right? Like you get to the point of a modern myth, a modern pop culture, and now once something's released, it's like it belongs to the fans, you know. It's I know Disney bought Star Wars and Lucasfilm for $4 billion, but I mean, is it theirs? Maybe not, you know. If people stop seeing the movies, no, they're not going to make any money, right? So,
no, exactly. Yeah. They kind of take it to a point where people lose interest. Hard to imagine, but if they were to change it so much, then people start to walk away. But yeah, definitely once it's out there and it's kind of public domain, it's hard to kind of decide who really owns it.
Yeah, totally. I was watching an interview recently for the cast of The Batman, which comes out in 2 weeks now. Matt Reeves' Batman, you know, very famous director, did the new Planet of the Apes trilogy, you know, prequel trilogy and all that. Very good film director, good films. And I think it was Zoe, is it Kravitz is her last name or something? It's
Kravitz, yeah.
She plays Catwoman in the new
Selena
film.
Kyle,
Selena Kyle. She was saying on the interview that for doing a film like this, like it's almost bittersweet. She said that in the moment like this, when it's prior to the film's release, like they still feel like it's theirs. But you know, as soon as the release day hits, it's not theirs anymore. She said that it's out there in the world for other people, and it's no longer something that they can kind of keep within themselves. So it's definitely the way that there's a certain touchiness, I think, with re-editing and changing a movie that exists out there. And you know, there's definitely people that'll take it personally and not like the changes or whatever that's made. So it's funny how I guess art is presented to the world now. The world owns it, you know.
People will get attachments and passionate about it, and then wars start over it.
Yeah.
Friendships
Very
lost.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. I'm sure someone's lost a friend by saying, you know, they like this thing and not that thing, and
they prefer the special edition over the original theatrical release. Yeah.
Sure. Us fans can be crazy people at times. Yeah.
True. Very true.
Yeah, cool. Well, man, I mean, dude, it's been great catching up with you, Adam. So I guess I'll probably actually see you at the Fan Expo because I'm going there. But you know, to anyone who's tuned in this far, you know, go visit geekgiftregistry.com. You know, sign up for the newsletters and everything. You know, click on the Fan Expo Vancouver tab and enter to win 500 Toy Trader bucks. These are
you got it.
Yeah, and plus the additional 100 if you're signed up for the is it the Geek Gift Registry website?
Yeah. So if you register with the site itself and then add a couple of items to your wish list and share your wish list, then if you're name is drawn out of the hat for the $500 prize, then you'd also get an extra $100. So there's just that little added incentive to create an account and then share that. And it's all completely free, so we don't charge anything for signing up, and you can share it with however many people you want to. So increase your chances of getting those things that you're after.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said. And Geek Gift Registry fills a needed void, I think, in the collector's business. So that's really cool. And to clarify,
it's gonna make Christmas a lot easier at my house. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the idea. Yeah. Birthdays, Christmas. I mean, any gift giving events. I mean, it's just like the sky's the limit, really. And it's just again for the people on the other side who are kind of wondering, well, what can I get that person? That's hopefully it make life easier for them as well. So kind of everyone wins.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. And it's also worth mentioning again, just to anyone who listened to all of those announcements, just keep in mind that these Toy Trader bucks cannot be spent online. So if you're in another country listening to this podcast, maybe just reconsider before putting your name in the hat, or if you do plan to come to Vancouver and spend those Toy Trader bucks if you end up winning them, because they have to be spent in person. So
yeah. But then you wouldn't regret it. I think we can safely say that anybody who gets to visit Toy Traders is not going to regret making that effort to come. I know I've had family and friends come over and taken them to Toy Traders, and they're just blown away. So
totally.
Yeah.
My understanding is they still need to put it to a vote, but Toy Traders is likely to be nominated to be the 8th wonder of the world. It is that great.
Yeah,
it's worth traveling to Canada for. I'll tell you that. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, Blake. Any last minute things you want to bring up or ask Adam before we close it up here?
I just wanted to thank Adam for coming on the show. It's good catching up again. I feel like we hadn't chat in years and years. Yeah, to come back again.
Yeah,
and I can guarantee you that I will have a list on this, and my wife will be receiving it.
Wonderful. Well, I hope it can make her life easier and take some of that stress out. And it's been great catching up with both of you again. I appreciate you having me back on the show, and hopefully bump into you at Fan Expo.
Likewise.
And, we'll definitely stay in touch.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and at some point we'll have you back on again, maybe chat some Star Wars or whatever. And most definitely see you on Saturday. Yeah. Absolutely.
We're always happy to chat Star Wars. And thank you very much again.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Adam. And I guess we'll catch you guys in the next one, or in another one.
Absolutely.
All right, and thank you all for tuning in to Star Wars Escape Pod. And make sure you look up those links in the description. We're going to leave one down there for Geek Gift Registry, as well as the competition, the draw, I guess. Only a couple hours left. Time's ticking. So, if you're listening to this before time is up, make sure you visit the site. If you want to get in touch with the podcast, there's various ways to do it. All are listed in the description below. We got so much planned for the coming weeks, and we're looking forward to chatting more Star Wars on the show. May the Force be with you, and we'll see you next time.